Steve.
You want a packet?
What?
You want a packet? Or just an agenda?
Take a packet. I'd like to welcome everyone to tonight's regular meeting of the Zoning and Housing Board of Appeals for January. Clerk, please call the roll.
Chair Turner?
Aye.
Vice
Here.
Chair Montanti?
Here.
Commissioner Allen? Here. Commissioner Plaut?
Here.
Commissioner Ruda?
Here.
Commissioner Zimnowitz? Commissioner Kendall?
Here.
Councilmember Radford?
Nice.
You have a phone?
All right, I'll look for a motion to approve the minutes for the meeting held on July 27th, 2022.
Any motion? Seconds?
Second by Ashley. Clerk, please call the roll.
Chair Turner?
Yes.
Vice Chair Montanti? Aye. Commissioner Allen? Aye. Commissioner Plaut?
Aye.
Commissioner Ruda?
Aye.
Commissioner Kendall?
Aye.
Passes.
Is there any correspondence?
No.
Just one housekeeping thing, we have to elect the chair and the vice chair. I'd like to move that, or get a motion to move that to the next meeting when everyone would be able to better be here. We're missing Lori, and I'd like to give her an opportunity to be here for that. So I just need a motion for that.
I'll make a motion.
A second.
Roll, please.
Chair Turner?
Yes.
Vice Chair Montanti?
Aye.
Commissioner Allen? Aye. Commissioner Plaut?
Aye.
Commissioner Ruda? Commissioner Kendall?
Aye.
Passes.
All right, we're gonna move on to new business. The first property is 3436 Cedar Street. We're looking to see who's here to represent that property. Please state your name and your address.
Pamela Sparaco, work address is 343 Main Street. I'm here to represent Al Kleinman. He's in Thailand, so I'm the CFO and here I am.
Okay. Could you please explain to us what you'd like to do there at the property and what you're asking for?
He's asking for it to be a two-family property. He's going to do a complete gut and remodel of it, bringing it back to what he'd like to be, what it was originally. He owns a house on Cedar Street, and he refurbished a one right across on 40 Cedar Street, which actually won one of the merit awards. So he will, he's trying to just bring that particular street back to something a little better than it is right now, I guess.
When you say bring it back, what do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, he wants to refurbish that house, that 34 through 36. Right now, there's nobody living in it, and it's been uninhabited for several years. So he wants to be able to have it a two-family house, fully remodeled inside, so that offers a rental property.
Do you know approximately how much he's gonna spend on the rehab? Has there been any study on that?
I think that he was like 95, if not 95 to 100.
$1,000?
Yeah.
What types?
It needs new kitchens.
That's what I was
It
wondering.
pretty
What
much needs
type of-
everything, everything needs to be gutted and replaced, and he's going to do that.
What type of things are you gonna be doing on the outside of that property?
I do not know. I could call him and ask him that. I don't know. Would you like me to call him and ask him that?
I don't know, we'll wait and see here.
Okay.
We'll see what the other, Ashley, do you have any questions for the applicant?
Yeah, I know he said something about putting a porch on it, putting a porch on the front. I guess there used to be a porch on it originally, maybe doing that.
Can you just circle back to the beginning? You said he wants to restore it back to the way it was.
Well, something close to it, you know, he mentioned that to me just a little bit ago. I mean, it's obviously gonna be all new.
Right, but it's currently in what state? It's a 2-unit or 1-unit?
It is a 2-unit right now, and I guess, it can't be anything less than that. He said you could never transfer it back to a one-family house, and it wouldn't be financially reasonable either as far as renting or anything, based on the cost of the purchase to include, all the renovations that need to be done to it.
Okay,
A little clarity, when you say return it back to its original state, its original state was a single-family dwelling.
Okay,
So
I'm
you're
sorry.
going back to where it was
Okay.
when it was made into a multifamily?
Yes, yes.
So you're not changing the footprint of the building?
No,
So-
no.
Are there separate utilities for each dwelling? Is there, are you looking at doing fire containments and so on, bringing it up to code in terms of?
Oh, I know, he'll do everything to bring it up to code, whatever has to happen.
Yeah, I'm just
will
kind of
happen.
wondering, was the original footprint, did it have separate utilities for each side, or is it shared utilities? I doubt that it's shared utilities.
No, I
but
doubt it too.
got it.
I don't know, to be honest with you. But I know that if it has to be shared, he will definitely do shared utilities. I can't imagine that he would have it as two units with the same.
So
because-
it would be separate. I'm sure.
Yeah, because typically everything that we have as far as the places that he rents and owns,
On your website, you posted, on the property's website, you posted the other properties that they have. So am I to assume that the finishes and the quality is going to be similar as to those, as in 47 Cedar Street?
yeah.
Pete, do you have any questions for the
Um,
applicant?
So I'm looking at the application here, so it's not currently owned by Kleinman?
No, he's purchasing it.
So it's in
He
the-
wasn't gonna, he's waiting on the decision here before he purchases it.
Okay, yeah, that was that clarity, and is the assumption that the current owner would leave it vacant if the purchase didn't go through and the application didn't get approved? That would, the alternative would be it would continue as a vacant
Yeah.
property.
It's been that way for some
Yeah.
time. I guess she has another place that's vacant here in town too.
Mr. Candelario?
You mentioned that he had also renovated a apartment building on the other side of the street. Is that currently occupied, and what is the clientele of that?
It's a 3 apartment building. It's at 40 Cedar Street. The bottom is fully rented. The 1 apartment is rented in the front, and we have somebody coming into the one in the back, and it's all professionals, working class people,
Okay,
not
so it's not
I don't know
intended
if I
to
should
be
say
a
that. Not
student,
students.
it's not intended to be a student, right?
No, it's not, no.
Steve, about this particular property,
Yes.
do we know when it was converted into a two-family and what kind of can you give us a little bit of history of this particular property, please?
So this property was converted, it appears to be probably at least 30, 40 years ago. It's been a two-family for longer than I've been alive. The current owner had the property, she's owned it. For whatever reason, she allowed the property, the CSC to lapse, so it didn't have a CSC, and then it was unoccupied for more than 24 consecutive months. So I actually live next door to this property, so I know it's been vacant for at least 3 years. In that 3-year period, we contacted that particular owner, informing them that if the property wasn't occupied, it would lose any non-conforming status that it had. She said, yeah, I'll figure that out, and here we are today. So the property, not only has it been a 2-unit for a long time, but it's also been not in compliance with any sort of, that's why we're here, because our code says if you have a property that's been vacant for basically 24 consecutive months, it goes bye-bye.
So the circumstance is that the last, or the owner now, knew that this was gonna fall out of compliance, and they just didn't do anything about it.
The current owner, Catherine Wittich, knew it was going to come out of compliance. She said, yeah, I'm gonna do some work on it, I'm gonna try to sell it, I'm gonna try to occupy it, but she never actually did. She never got a CC, she never got tenants in there, it just kinda sat. So then when Al came to me and said, I'm going to buy it, we find ourselves here because Al wants to do a 2-unit, and our code says, well, that's not a 2-unit house anymore. It's a single-family home.
So, according to our instructions, that would be what's defined as a self-created hardship.
The current, the loss of non-conforming status would be a self-created hardship for the owner, for the current.
Current owner.
Now, then you've gotta look at, so now this is a non-conforming structure, and they're looking for a use variance to do a 2-unit. So if you buy that structure knowing that you can't do a 2-unit, and you buy that structure knowing that it's non-conforming, I mean, you're kind of creating your own hardship there as well. So the request part of this is, I want a use variance because I wanna buy a house that is non-conforming and do something that's non-conforming with it.
So has Mr. Kleiman had any architectural work done, planning done to inform us a little bit better as to what he's going to put within the confines of the building? So, let me see if I can, what I'd like to know is what are his actual numbers and plans to go ahead and do this? So I might be able to consider, it would make my decision a little bit easier to go ahead and say, I think that this is the right move to go ahead and at least consider it
He
as a
has,
two-family, but right now, I can't really consider it as a two-family because it's still labeled as a single-family home.
he has a, if I understand correctly, he has a contractor that's
Okay.
been in there and, pretty much ready to go. He actually called me today, and they've been scoping it out, all that they need to do to make it a two-family, to bring it up to code for a two-family. And he's had Gilbert Plumbing in there,
Yep.
checking the plumbing out. We've got to get an electrician in there. But I gave our contractor different names of electricians that are certified within the city. So he's doing all that to make sure that we can bring it all up to code. They've had the furnace looked at, Gilbert Plumbing was in there and looked at the furnace, and that's okay to go.
Is there anybody here in the audience? I don't think, there's no one here to speak on this application, other than, no.
I mean, I could call Al too, because he's at his phone, if you wanted any other,
So he's not purchased the home yet. Is it under contract with the realtor?
yeah, it's under but he, is it under contract?
It's
Like,
with
is it
contingencies.
Contingencies, yes, absolutely.
But
We
there
have
is a
that
signed
contract.
contract
We don't
that
have that.
he is going to purchase the home.
Yes, if
Once
this goes
this is
through,
approved.
if you say yes, it can be a two-family home, he's gonna go ahead with the purchase, absolutely.
Have you seen the contract, Steve?
I mean, I talked to Al and he was very adamant that this process is holding up closing, so I'm assuming, I mean, he's chomping.
We have the funds ready to go, we've transferred money, got the funds ready to go, our contractor's ready to go, it's just a matter of approval.
Thank you. I guess, my question is that, obviously, you know what some of the costs associated with the renovation and the purchase are gonna be. The statements made in the application that converting it back to a single family is economically unfeasible. It would be good to have a comparison of what the cost of that would be to the cost that you're gonna end up spending to make it a livable
I don't
two-family.
think that if it's gonna be a one-family, I don't believe he will purchase.
Well, I understand that, but just from our point of view, to have the data, there's a statement that it's not economically feasible, but there are no numbers.
Okay, I do that.
If we had at least some ballpark figures on that, again, would make it easier to make a decision.
I think, a contract, a signed contract, with the contingency on the, what I'm understanding from, the board is that this is the type of things that they're looking for, some sort of cost estimation and some type of architectural style plans or description of what's gonna actually be done on the property, and, all of those different types of things. Would you be interested in coming back? I mean, I don't wanna say that yet, but I mean, is that something that you'd like to do?
Yeah, when would that be?
It would be the following month,
February 22nd.
I wonder if I could go, I could probably go up and get the contract from work, because we have it, right up the road.
And if the question would be, does the contract include comparables to what it would cost to?
yeah.
I probably
I don't
doubt
think,
that
I don't
it
think you
does.
have those particular pro formas or anything like that that would. See, there's a couple difficulties here that, you know, the board has recognized, you know, some of this has been a self-created hardship by the, you know, the previous owner, and then now, you know, the purchase of this is gonna be in that case as well, because you know it can't be turned into a two-family without a variance. You know, so we're trying to do the best that we can to, you know, get this to move forward. And those are some of the things that we'd like to have answered, I believe.
Could I just make a quick call to him,
Sure.
see what he, okay, just a second.
Sure, while we're doing that, I mean, we could look at the seeker form.
So there's a short form in.
Yeah, there's a short form.
Um,
It seems to be, the majority of it's filled out, isn't that correct there? It's all filled out?
Yeah, so the form's filled out, basically, seeker's required by New York State.
Yep.
to make any sort of decision. If you quickly look over this, you'll see, there's no wetlands, we're not digging, we're not building ponds that are gonna impound water, we're not creating storm runoff, it's an existing structure. Even if you look at like, it's a proposed action, it says, is it a permitted use? No. But the next question is it consistent with the adopted comprehensive plan? I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes.
yeah, we have different types of housing.
Yeah.
And then also, if you look, is it within the character of the existing or built?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
there's a mix, I mean, that street has a 4-unit house, it has 2-unit houses, it has single-family homes. So really, like, the only thing on this that's flagged on here is that it's adjacent to the structure on the corner of East and Cedar is eligible for listing on the National Register. So,
How far away is that?
it's like 4 houses down. But the thing with that property is this proposal isn't doing anything to impact that.
No, it's not, yeah, they're gonna,
It's not
We're
gonna
not,
change.
we're not gonna build a 7-story building next door. to
Question,
that.
could-
just hold on a second, please.
So, I mean, it's up to you guys, if you look, but you can independently look at these questions, and if you see anything that red flags, it's this page right here.
Yes.
Yep.
So if you thumb through, like, those, kind of the front and back, you can kind of see what the questions look like, you can kind of see what they're asking, and you can kind of see where it's checked.
Has everyone had an opportunity to look through that?
Yes.
Okay, I'd like a motion and, that basically through the review of the short, environmental assessment form, and through consultation with the code enforcement office, you know, we see that there is, no environmental impacts on this property and it's an unlisted action. So I just need somebody to make
Yeah,
it.
I'll make the motion.
Okay. Clerk, can I get the roll, please?
Chair Smith,
Aye.
Vice Chair Matthews,
Aye.
Commissioner Allen. Aye. Commissioner Post,
Aye.
Commissioner Rubin.
Aye.
Commissioner Campbell.
Aye.
Passes.
Could you, Al wants to know if he could speak to you, I just want to,
This one.
He's just signing the short form, the seeker.
To get the chair.
She has a question for you.
Okay, yeah.
Al wants to know if he could be on the phone and just speak to you.
I don't know how clear it's gonna be, we can see, we can
Okay,
see
yeah,
it.
it'll be good, here, I'll,
It's unconventional, but we'll try to make it, you know,
here, I'll leave it.
well, everybody's got here.
Al?
Hello, Mr. Kleinman, yes?
Hello?
Yes, Mr. Kleinman.
Yeah, who am I speaking to?
This is Chair Tomeno.
Oh, hello, how are you?
Good, thanks.
I'm
Can everybody hear?
from Pam that you've made a request, we can easily get you the purchase agreement, immediately. I have that on file here. Pam can send it your way. But this cost breakdown, we've done nothing on cost breakdown. And I filed this application in October of last year, have heard no request for additional information. And now I'm hearing that you want to hold this up for 30 days. We'll abandon the project.
Okay.
This is frankly ludicrous.
Well, this is the first time it's before.
All we're asking for is a return of the two-family variance that has existed there for probably 50 years. And I'm about to make $100,000, probably $250,000 total investment in that street. This is a blight on the street. It's been empty for a decade or more.
I will let you know in the application that you submitted, it does require financial evidence. So it's not as though you didn't know that, I mean, in the application it says so.
No one came back to me in over 90 days. Your meeting was postponed twice.
That's correct, that's correct. This is the first time that we're able to, look at your application as a full board. And we can't take any action on that until we do, until we actually look at the application as a full board. So I apologize for those meetings being canceled. There's nothing I could do about it.
This is bureaucratic bullshit.
Okay?
Somebody should have reviewed that application and come back to me. You cannot postpone this transaction. We've been waiting on you.
Well, we had to have a meeting.
It should have been before the November meeting.
Okay, do you have anything else that you'd like to add?
I want to understand what's going to happen here.
Well, you're not here, and this is quite, difficult to, for everyone to hear exactly. We're not gonna go through the whole meeting.
I was there in November, and I was there in December. And you guys postponed the meeting.
Yes,
This is holding up progress for the city of Oneonta.
yes, sir. We have rules and we have to go through it. This is the first time that it's come before the board.
Did someone have a look at that application prior to this? I know that Steve did.
We're the board, we're the,
I asked on multiple occasions when I filed that application, is there any further information that's needed? And I heard no and no.
these questions have come up during this board meeting.
Well, that's great, but this is nuts. It's a property that already exists.
Okay, do you have anything else to add?
I'm gonna file a complaint, I guess. This is nuts.
Okay.
We're gonna abandon this project.
Okay.
This is in your hands.
Do you want us,
We're gonna abandon this project.
do you want us to continue, or do you want your representative to decide, or are you deciding now? Do you want to pull the application?
You'll hear in writing. No, you'll hear in writing.
So do you want us to make a decision this evening, or do you want to, is it your opinion you want to hold on to the application?
We need a decision. You bet.
Okay,
I'm about to put $100,000 in that property. I do not have a cost breakdown. We're putting in new kitchens, new bathrooms, new walls throughout, new windows, a new driveway, etc.
we don't have any of that information in front of us, we just asked for that information. We just asked, that's what we were asking for. And we just wanted some financial evidence of all of this.
For what purpose?
Well, that's what we're requiring right now.
For what purpose?
As Mr. Kendall said, who's on the board, the instructions actually say that.
I have a record in Oneonta of rehabbing buildings. My 343 Main Street, the parks around 343 Main Street, 40 Cedar Street. I'm not buying this property to leave it decrepit, I'm buying it to fix up Cedar Street. There's 4 properties on Cedar Street that need that kind of work. I've taken care of one of them. Your zoning
That's not what we're trying to do here.
Well, it's clear that, well, you don't need this information. I'm not gonna do anything, my history is very clear in this community.
Thank you for that. Thank you. Is there anything else, Mr. Klein?
This project cannot wait another 30 days to proceed.
Okay.
Is there a workaround? I'm happy to provide that information, but is there a workaround? Can you approve subject to the receipt and review of that information?
We have to discuss that as a board. It's kind of difficult to do with you on the phone. I mean, it would be much more helpful if you were here, obviously, you know.
Here I am.
Let's,
I'm in Thailand. I was there in November, I was there in December.
out of courtesy to you, we're accepting this phone call like this. Your representative is here. She has all the power to make.
On Zoom, I'm happy to jump on Zoom. You wanna see my face?
That,
Happy to do that.
that's not, out of courtesy, we're providing you this opportunity this evening to discuss this, you know, and, we cannot put you on Zoom, you know, you have to be here in person, that's why you have a representative here, she's supposed to.
My representative there, she is power of attorney.
That's correct. She asked if she could call you, so to ask you a couple of questions, and then wanted to put you on the phone. And we, you know, it's kind of out of the ordinary to do this, and, I think if you don't have anything else to say, I think we're gonna end this conversation with you.
Well, to be fair, it's out of the ordinary to postpone a committee meeting for 3 months.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kleinman. Ashley, do you have any other questions for the applicant? Or any comments, anything?
I'm trying to remain professional. I'm
Okay.
a better person than I am, and I appreciate you. As a two-bedroom, what is, because we have no architectural plans, we have to understand, we have no idea like what this is gonna look like. How many bedrooms, how many baths is it? Like, if it was a single family, how many bedrooms and baths would it be? We're trying to understand like, if we're saying this is a financial hardship on the market, like, why, essentially, what does that look like?
Do you know how many? See, I don't, I haven't been in that house, you know,
So, the property as it is now is basically like a side-by-side. I know that it was issued a CSC for 3 unrelateds on both sides.
Yep.
So, I haven't inspected that house inside, but it would have 3 bedrooms, cause it's at least listed for 3 on each side. Yeah, it's a pretty standard house, I mean, it's not, basically looks like my house. I know Al had discussed with me that he intended, so, right now, has everyone seen this house?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got like, they put parking in the front lawn
Yep.
and they
Yeah.
remove, so Al's told me that his intent is to remove that parking, put a lawn in. put a
That's all
porch
nice, but
in.
I don't think the board's saying we don't see any of that stuff, you know, we don't know.
Yeah, so I think his intention is that he's gonna remove that parking, put in a sidewalk, put in a porch, put in a driveway. And that's what he indicated to me. As far as the discussion about the requirements in the application, I mean, in this case, I think it's difficult to show financial hardship, just because you would need to have comparables to what your single-family homes sell for there. So yeah, I mean, I think that it's up to the board, I mean,
So,
why these get reviewed.
may I ask a question, Hamlet? You had mentioned that the 3-unit across the street from this house is being rented to professionals. Is there any?
It's not across from it, it's down.
It's down, 40
Yeah,
seater.
yeah,
correct?
yeah.
It's being rented to professionals. Is that the
Yes.
intent with this property? Or is it gonna be a baseball request?
No,
as
no,
we
no,
move forward?
it will be, we do year leases, at
Okay.
least a year lease, and it'll be professionals, because we don't wanna deal, it's not bad about students, I don't mean to say that it is, we just don't want to deal with, they usually leave it, they, you know what they do, they ruin places, and he fixes them up in such a manner that we wanna keep it like that. We have a maintenance man that is always on the job, and when somebody needs something, he's there, and that's kind of the way we'd like to continue.
I don't think the way in which he operates his business is the climate. That's not the question here at all. And we appreciate that work that's done in the community. That's not a question here. So we're going through the process that we have to go through. Pete, do you have any other questions for that? Move on.
I don't think so.
So this is really more about the cost of it then, correct?
Well, there's criteria in which we have to, follow to approve this particular application, and that's what we're going through. And there's particular evidence that could be entered into the record as well as into the application that would further this along faster and neater.
Right.
Doug, is there anything that you'd like to ask the applicant or at this moment?
No, I mean, I think the questions that we have asked, could have been answered in the application if the instructions had been carefully read. But I agree with you that we know that the quality of the stuff that Mr. Kleinman's organization has done in town, that's not the question. But paying attention to details is important, and it makes it a lot easier for us to make a decision if that's done. That's my only
Yeah, I
comment.
didn't see the application.
No, it's not a comment on you.
Yeah, I know, I didn't see that, I don't know who we had do the process. Yeah, that would be great if I could.
Fred, do you have anything? Any comments, questions?
Just a closing comment. I'm quite familiar with these properties and his model of working. And, I really do believe that it would be a good opportunity to rehabilitate this home. Unfortunately, it would have been much better served if we had some sort of financial data and some plans to know exactly what is going into to rehabilitate the home. Otherwise, I'm just voting on just a handshake, and I would much rather see a little bit more data myself. But
So what could I get for you? What is it, should I get with our contractor and have him write up something?
Doug, you mentioned that you would like to see something. What would you
Well,
like to see?
ideally, I mean, if the hardship is that the property cannot be sold as to be converted back into a one-family, which, it sounds like it would be very difficult, how much more expensive would that be? I mean, I have no idea how to, and I don't think that anybody's gonna go out there and get an estimate for that, a hard estimate, but it would be nice to know. And I don't think that's something that you can do on the fly.
No.
I'm gonna play the devil's advocate. I mean, no one's gonna buy that property because it is a two-family and their intent is to make money.
Yeah.
So, it just comes down to, do we really wanna postpone this? I mean, I know part of the
As a new
application,
board, yeah.
part of the application, sure, it requires it, but in the mindset of a businessman, he's also looking at the point of, well, I'm not gonna buy it if they're not gonna put it into a two-family.
Well, that's the threat, that's the threat. So
Well,
that's
not what he's saying right now, but I'm just saying that anyone, myself included, let's just say speculation, is if you're looking to buy a
We
piece of
don't know.
property, then it is shown as a two-family, that is what you're going to pursue. So, do we let it continue on the blight, do we restore it to one family, I mean,
We don't do anything.
Right.
The market decides.
right?
And just to Doug's point, I would say, bringing it back to a two-family, that means 2 kitchens, 2 sets of utilities, whereas a single family, I feel like that would be less expensive.
Not to redo it to a one family, it is currently a two-family, and you have to gut out all those
Yeah.
rooms. and restructure the house.
It's probably Cody is probably set up for two different, systems as far as heating and
Yeah,
electric,
but if all of those are gonna be redone in the process
yeah.
anyhow.
They're currently,
You see, this is raising a lot more questions, and
So,
well, there's a couple options on the table. We can, somebody can make a motion here. You can ask the board to hold this to next month. When you have some, if maybe Mr. Kleinman's here.
don't think he'll be back, he's not gonna be back until the end of February.
Well, I'm just saying that that's one particular option.
Let me ask you a question. So if you vote on it, it's either cause I really wanna understand this, okay? So if you vote on it today, it's either you're voting either on a two-family or a one-family, is that what you're voting?
We're voting to approve the application that it
Be a
gets,
two-family.
that's correct.
Okay, so let's just say you vote against it. Then everything's off the table that
You
going
could
forward?
reapply, but it's already been voted down, I mean.
Okay, I need some guidance here, okay, so.
So, just to keep in mind, so if you look at page 6 of 9 of the application, even if we move past the financial hardship part of this, you have to meet all the criteria. So part of the reason that, so if you look at number 4, the hardship has not been self-created. For example, a self-created hardship applies if the property was purchased when the zoning restriction already existed. So what becomes difficult with use variances, you're not just meeting a financial hardship, you're also saying this hardship was not pre-existing to me buying it. So there's a lot of like kind of weird criteria you have to meet. So what this turns into is, and I hate to say this kind of out loud, even if Al could come in with an elaborate scheme of financial information, he's never going to meet criteria number 4, which this is not zoned for a two-family.
Well, this is, yes,
And-
this is to our discretion, and.
Yeah, so-
And that's what we're looking at, this particular property at this.
Yeah, so what
particular
I'm
time.
saying is, you can review this and you can make a discretionary call, but keep in mind, like, it's gonna be a discretionary call no matter how you cut it.
I mean, we have to weigh the balance here of this property,
Yeah, no, I-
versus all of them. I mean, this is a larger question, obviously, for council to look at, I think, for properties that exist in this particular situation that fall out of conformance. I think that the council's gonna have, if John was here, we'd be able to tell him that they're gonna have to look at some of these properties because they might become vacant and they fall out of conformance, and they're gonna be in the same particular situation.
Yes. And that is the problem. Because then we're looking for use variances on properties that just had a bad owner. I mean, that's kind of where we end up.
That's where we're at now.
And there's another one on Elm Street that this owner has, it's in the exact same position, but I think it's like maybe a 5-unit or something. So, you can see these properties, that you can literally see each other from the front door, so.
Ashley, how are you feeling? I'm gonna hold the board a little bit there and see what.
For me, the lack of, like, that monetary evidence is a problem. Because it's very easy to say, like, this is, a hardship or on this market, it won't work or whatever, but like, every time we make a variance and we say yes to a variance, we're essentially saying, this is the law now and it's gonna be like that for everybody. So without the complete application, I'm really on the fence, to just be honest with you.
I'm getting hung up now on this idea of it being self-created and it's being created by the previous owner. And maybe Steve, you can give me some guidance on this. If Al had purchased the property, then filed the application, it wouldn't be self-created because that's the way it was when he purchased it, is that, would that be a justification for the variance?
It's very difficult to buy land or buy property or buy structures that don't meet the zoning code, and then argue that, well, I didn't know it didn't meet the zoning code, so give me a variance. The idea is that the person buying the property, like Al did, has done due diligence and found that this property is not conforming to the zoning. So instead of buying the property, he's saying, hey, look, I didn't do this, the previous owner did it, give me a variance. But in doing that, he's acknowledging that he's aware that it doesn't meet the zoning code. So you kind of get in a weird world where no matter how you slice this application, you're having to kind of make justifications around, is this self-created, is it not self-created, is it? So like you get into a weird kind of place, and that's how use variances go. I mean, it's very, because you could potentially argue that this will never be eligible to get a use variance, even if Al comes in with a mountain of paperwork. Or you could slice it the other way and say, you know what, I mean, it's a pre-existing structure on a pre-existing lot.
I think we're looking for some of that information, you know what I mean? I think that's what it is. Doug, do you have anything to say about this?
Well, just to follow up on that, so if we grant a variance, we're not actually granting it to the applicant, we're granting it to the owner, right? I mean.
It goes with the property, and
It
that's
goes with the
another
property.
confusion, and that's why I wanted to see the contract
It's
contingent.
in perpetuity, so what'll happen is use variances go with property, not with owners.
Right, but tonight if we give them, tonight it's owned by Catherine Whittick, and so if we give a variance, if we approve it, we're giving her the variance
Correct.
at the
Well,
present time.
The property would be
property.
granted a variance.
Right.
So whoever owns the property would then
Okay.
have the
So
right.
somebody can
So
purchase
why-
this property.
And she's not asking for it.
Well, and that arises the concern that, you know, she gets the variance and then pulls out of the contract and tries to get new tenants without making any.
For doing,
He sent me a breakdown of what he thinks it's gonna cost.
well,
And I also have the purchase agreement.
So that's what you were looking for in that.
Fred, do you have anything? How's your attitude? What do you think about this?
Well, my biggest concern is that, first of all, I think that the rehabilitation of the home back to a single family or a two-family would be ideal for the city. You know, we have no doubt that we need to rehabilitate some homes. The problem is that the previous owner created the hardship. I don't see that the hardship is transferred to the Kleinman people because they're making a business decision, and they're making their business decision based on what they can get on their return of investment. So I don't really see where the hardship comes in on the Kleinman side. It's more on the Whittick side, or whatever the name is. And I just would, I wish that we had just a little more substance to really feel better about, you know, I'm pretty sure that the Kleinman Group are going to do what they say they are going to do, but I would like to see a little bit of that proof of where we move to the next step to make sure that everything is in place.
How would you wanna get that? Do you wanna move, table this?
I'm leaning towards tabling it for another month, so that way we could at least get your contractor in here and have your contractor discuss with us what they're going to do. You know, look at the electrical, look at the plumbing. You've already talked about the heating, you've already talked about the plumbing. Are you gonna use a GC for it? Maybe the general contractor can come in and just give us a random order of magnitude as far as what the cost is going to be. Real quickly, quick little breakdown that's coming from, you know, not from the owner, not from the person who's going to be doing the money end of it. I'm just looking for some hard numbers from the disciplines that are gonna be doing the work. Just a little bit of information. I mean,
So you won't take what he's got here?
I don't believe so, no.
Would you like to see the agreement though?
I think it's, I mean,
Can we grant the variance, contingent on closing of the sale?
And then we're going on blind faith again. You know, is he going to do what he says he's going to do?
Oh, he will. I know,
I'm sure.
he'll probably do that and more. That's typically what happens, to be quite honest with you.
okay, is there a motion, does anybody wanna make a motion to do something?
I'll make a motion to table to next month in lieu of having the purchase agreement and a little bit more information as to what is going to be done in the home.
Can I get a second on that? I'll second that to move the motion. Please call the roll, me last.
I can't change the order,
Or you can't.
sorry. Chair Tomato,
Aye.
Vice Chairman Danty, abstain. Commissioner Allen? Aye. Commissioner Close?
Aye.
Commissioner Ruda?
Commissioner Kendall.
Abstain.
You have 4 votes, it passes.
Okay, so we have to come back to the table if he wants to wait for the next month with what you're asking for,
Can you
basically.
identify, just for the record, what documents?
What information you're seeking, so.
I think in some respect, we're looking for some clarification as to why it's a hardship to turn this into a.
So the item that's noted on page 6 of
That's
the
correct,
application,
yeah,
would that
that's,
be sufficient?
yes, I believe that's what we'd like to see, yes. It's on page 6 of 9.
Correct.
So, okay,
You see all those, there's like,
Purchase price, present value, asking price, real estate taxes, mortgage and liens, cost of demolition, erecting new structures, cost of obtaining necessary area variances, projected income from the proposed use.
so those are the things you're asking for, okay? When is the next meeting?
Be February 22nd at 7 o'clock.
Okay, thank you.
thank you. All right, we're gonna move on to the next property. It's 377 Main Street. Who's here to represent that property?
Harrison,
Why don't you let us know what you'd like to do?
I just wanna put a sign up on a sign that's already there, freestanding sign. It currently has the old friendly sign. We just wanna make a similar sign to that and just put it on both sides. Like, the people from the hospital can see it, and people from the highway can see the sign. We're not gonna do anything, it's just a sign that's gonna go on the, freestanding cabinet.
So if you look at the zoning memo, the memo that was provided with this application, if you look at the back side page, it's gonna list why he's here. So if you look at 300-17, and then that's why he's requesting the variance.
It's on the first page.
Yeah.
Back in the front page.
Oh, There.
Yeah, I went to the back and started in there.
So when did you purchase this property?
We purchased around March of last year. And we did a lot of new construction to the front, as it was a restaurant, and we changed it over to a convenience store.
So what you're looking to do is to continue to use the existing signpost. Are you gonna change the actual,
The frame,
not, I guess you would call it the copy, is that what it is? The cabinet, are you gonna change that up top, or are you just gonna paint it? What are you gonna do?
we're just gonna take the screws out, we're gonna put a plexiglass right on it, like our sign, this says Apple Express. And with wording like beer or, you know, grocery or something like that, food, hot foods, subs.
So the space taken up by your sign will be the same as the part that said Friendly's?
Yes, sir. We're just gonna paint the whole, just black, to make it, it's all rusty there. We're just gonna paint that, looks nice.
Is it a backlit sign?
Like
Light from-
lighting,
Light from inside the cabinet,
There
light
is.
up the up face?
and there's one, that's already there, there's like, two, lights that shine on there, which you don't really.
Okay, so you have spots coming down,
Spots, yeah.
and you're gonna use the same like material that's in there?
Yes, sir.
Is the sign gonna be able to be changed as far as lettering goes? Is it gonna be static all the time? Or are you gonna be, like, is it gonna be the same style as it is now? Or is it just gonna be a full Apple Express?
It's not gonna.
Do you have a picture of what the sign is gonna be?
I don't, but it's gonna be similar to our gas station, sign, that's Apple Express, that's there.
It's just a little bit of an issue because we can't see exactly what the sign's gonna look like. I mean, is it?
I think
I can show,
you filed a sign permit, didn't you?
yeah.
Yeah, I think I actually have the
Well,
sign
that's,
permit.
that's like a different wording that we have, the gas station sign, it's like a plexiglass, we're just gonna put something like that there, I'll show you.
Cause I think you filed a sign application that included this sign, didn't you?
You included the sign, yeah, like
And I
the
think it had a illustration.
illustration, yeah.
Yeah, let me,
That'd be very helpful if we had an illustration of exactly what the sign's gonna look for.
you have that on your, didn't you send that electronically to me? The
I think
application?
Yeah, me and my brother, yeah.
Yeah, I think, one second, let me,
Can you get a printout, Steve, for us, or?
yeah, let me look it up here, cause I think,
Yeah, who's in this bowl? Yeah. Harry, one quick question I have for you. What else is gonna be on this sign? I mean, right now, there are no less than 9 signs between your building as well as on this particular post. So how many signs are you gonna have at this address?
Like as like the temporary signs, or like you're talking about like just a sign that's on there? There's gonna be one sign that's gonna be on the.
Well, right now, you have other signs on that sign.
Yeah, like the.
So
sodas.
it's not what it used to be.
Okay, we can take those sodas out of there, and.
So if this application is approved, that sign will just be the signpost and the copy that's in that
Yes,
sign
yeah,
cabinet.
we can, yes, definitely.
So will there be other signs around that sign?
No,
So today you're saying that it's just gonna be that sign, nothing on that sign except for the sign itself?
yes, sir.
And in and around the area there of that footprint, there's not gonna be other signs?
There won't be those signs. I wasn't sure, I had to open now banner, but I took it all down.
Do we have a picture of it?
hmm?
You have that up?
Let me, I was trying to find it in my email, but I can't, I believe what the sign was, it's literally just, it says like Apple Express on the, it's literally just a replacement of one.
Would it be scanned?
It would be scanned, it's probably in the, if you file a sign permit application, it'd be,
There would be no lettering on it.
let me go look at my desk, it's probably on my desk.
No interchangeable lettering on it, like on a daily basis.
No, there's
Kind of
no,
like the-
it's just gonna be sticking there, it's not gonna change. It's like,
But no like daily specials.
no, nothing, there's no lettering, there's no, like, we have this at 99 cents, and then tomorrow we have this at, we have a hot sandwich, something,
Okay.
it's not gonna change, it's gonna be there,
Yeah,
perfect.
I know there's those board signs, you know, those are often used for those, you know, sale time, yeah, whatever the sale is, so that wouldn't be, so it would be a static sign,
It will be-
yeah.
It's a sign that's gonna stay the way it is for a long time, until rented.
So it's basically an illustrated version of like the neon sign that's on the front of your building.
Yes.
Taking all the questions.
Sorry.
It's what no one's think alike.
I think I'm just low on that too. Sometimes I ask questions on that.
Well, Jim asked it before, but I didn't hear a response, so it's.
It's gonna be the same as the sign at 472.
Yes, similar. And I'm trying to get a street view.
And the street view at 472.
Then it's just a building sign?
Building sign, and then it has the fuel prices underneath, but you're not doing fuel prices,
No, gas
so it'll just
station.
be that.
You said you would put lettering underneath,
Yeah, like a beer,
No.
on the sign itself. So here's, it's not a great picture of it, but that's the sign at 472, which would be similar in design and construction minus the fuel pricing underneath it.
Okay.
So there it is. Yeah, so it's just it's literally replacing
The friendly part.
the Friendly's part.
but you are gonna keep this lettering underneath.
Yeah, I think
You're still gonna use the
You're gonna
lettering
still use
underneath,
the
right?
lettering underneath?
Those 3 sections of text that can be changed, is that going to stay?
Like where they used to
Can you
put their
go up to
menu,
show it?
Yeah.
their menu
Sorry.
This is what you
special.
submitted.
Yeah, I just wanna make sure,
That's okay.
No, that's fine.
I wanna tell you something and then say,
That's what you submitted, but yeah.
yeah, straight.
You're gonna keep those boxes underneath
Yes,
here and
yes.
change the lettering.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
It's the last page.
The last page, if you wanna.
Yeah, so I just wanna confirm, so it is going to include the lettering
Yes.
open at 7 AM. And then, breakfast 50% off, kind of daily special kind of stuff that gets changed out on a week-to-week basis.
Yes, I have that one.
It's like I just put it in the folder.
You still have the letters for that part of the sign?
No.
No, you have to get new ones.
Yeah. I don't think you can find anything awful from that.
You should have left them in a box.
And the previous sign had that, is that?
So essentially what happened is this original Friendly sign was installed under an older sign code.
Yep.
It was approved under an older sign code. When the sign code was updated in 2013, it made these signs no longer permitted. And then when Friendly's closed, we're kind of back to Al Kleinman. This sign sat for 2 years. It's got its, except those granted variance shall cease and desist at the time when there's any one or more of the following: a discontinuance of use of the sign for more than 2 years. So our code literally says you gotta tear the sign down after 2 years. So they wanna continue to use the sign, which therefore triggers an area variance.
Okay, so, I think this is a type 2 action. For the maintenance or repair involving no substantial changes in an existing structure or facility. And so he's requesting that, a change to an existing sign, and he's just looking to change the copy of the sign. So this is, like I said, I believe, I'd like to get a motion to classify this as a type 2 action.
For clarification, type 2 actions are ones that have categorically no impact on the
There's
environment.
no impact on the environment, or
You're not digging holes, you're not changing lights, you're not.
I'll make the motion.
Okay,
I'll
second by Fred.
Chair Taylor?
Aye.
Vice Chair Hunter?
Aye.
Commissioner Allen? Aye. Commissioner Post?
Aye.
Commissioner Reed?
Commissioner Kendall?
Aye.
Passes.
Okay. Does anybody else have any additional questions, or concerns? Yeah. Fred,
I have none.
please. like to see a motion that, the approval of this particular sign, with the conditions of, that you said, you know, it's gonna be just that sign with that copy, nothing hanging off the sign, nothing in or around
Yeah, I'll,
the,
sorry,
in and around the area of the sign.
yeah.
Anybody wants to fix that up anyway? I'm not trying to put words in anybody's mouth.
I know, I think you're right, you know, the sign as it exists besides the painting, should remain the sign with the change of the Apple Express at the top.
So no painting on the bottom?
No.
No, you said you're gonna paint it, you're gonna paint it black.
Cosmetically
Yeah.
make it better
Yeah, make
looking,
it better, yeah.
updated.
Yeah, I'll just, I mean, I could show you what it's gonna look like. I mean, it's gonna be very similar to my gas station. The coating, everything is just put it right there, and the lettering on the bottom. That's pretty much it.
You're just changing the panel at the top, so what we're saying is that that's all that will remain, you're not gonna have banners off of it or
No.
signs off of it.
No,
Okay.
all that would be.
So does somebody wanna make a motion with, do you wanna, should
I
we read,
can.
she can, wanna
I
read
got
it? Okay. So, you want me to read it, or, okay,
As read.
as read? Does anybody want me to reread it? Somebody wanna make that motion?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Fred.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Chair Spano?
Aye.
Vice Chair Montante?
Aye.
Commissioner Arlen? Aye. Commissioner Fox?
Aye.
Commissioner Rita?
Aye.
Commissioner Kendall?
Aye.
So, you'll have to, you've already made the application, I guess.
Yeah, we just have to have a zoning, he had to have variance for us to issue the sign permit.
All right, thank you. So,
Thank you. Do you need any pre-pictures approval?
No, you're
or-
all set.
You're good.
Thank you.
is there any other business, anybody like to discuss? They got a motion to, end the meeting,
I motion to adjourn.
okay?
Aye.
Thank you.
You don't have to motion.
Oh, we don't have to motion? I thought we just.
Nope, you